Dragon Ball Super has been confirmed to continue February 20th of this year, and is something to be excited about as a Dragon Ball fan. Since the passing of Akira Toriyama, the Super manga has been on a hiatus, which left a considerable gap in content. Essentially, 2 seasons went by without any story to tell. Luckily, with Dragon Ball Daimon scheduled to release, it's been here to keep the momentum going. Although many people haven't been taking a liking to it. The main reason for this is due to Goku and Co becoming kids again, making the story seem less significant. Its placing in the series is also before the events of Dragon Ball Super. That being the case, a lot of people have already written it off as filler, and not something that currently will push the plot forward. Speaking of plot, there's still quite a bit left before Super ties into the end of Dragon Ball Z. There's still only about 2 to 3 more ages before that point, but there's still so much that can be done with the series. One of those things being the major black elephant in the room. Frieza has always been the symbol for the ultimate anime villain. He's an icon who ruled the Dragon Ball universe in its early stages and continued to stay relevant long after he'd been defeated by our heroes. He's returned to the eyes of Dragon Ball fans several times, including non-canon movies and Dragon Ball GT. In the new era of Dragon Ball Super, he once again returned to the spotlight and became another huge threat alongside antagonists. It was to everyone's shock when we seen him yet again for the Tournament of Power. Frieza being shown fighting alongside Goku could have only been viewed as something out of fan fiction, which Dragon Ball Super has been no stranger to. One thing that's clear about Frieza, however, is he's changing slowly but surely since we first seen him in the series. His horizon is much bigger now and span much farther than just simply getting revenge on Goku. With the introduction of the Gods of Destruction and the Angels, there were greater things Frieza sought to achieve. Expanding his empire across the multiverse to become the supreme ruler had a nice ring to it. He surely would have made that kind of wish had he been the last man standing in the tournament. Once revived again, he begins slowly rebuilding the Frieza force that apparently was in disarray after he'd been gone for so long. In his newly given life, he's immediately met with 2 seemingly unstoppable enemies who pose a serious threat to his galactic empire, Broly and Blue Gogeta. Frieza was very painfully aware of how strong Goku and Vegeta could become in a short period of time during the Tournament of Power, and it's pretty obvious, at least to me, that Frieza continued to train even after the tournament. Since in the Broly movie, in just his base form, he was able to survive Broly's onslaught, long enough for Goku and Vegeta to fail the initial fusion dance. This is a Super Saiyan Broly that was overwhelming Goku and Vegeta at the same time. This wasn't enough, however, to overcome the sheer monster that is Broly, yet another Saiyan that escaped Frieza's hands. If this wasn't bad enough, Goku and Vegeta reveal an ability that's been previously unknown to the Emperor: fusion. The same monster that Frieza couldn't overcome was now being dominated by the combination of the 2 people Frieza despises the most. It was here that I believe something was ignited within him. He had to become the strongest, so strong that he didn't have to worry about the Saiyans any longer, or their potential combination of strength. Remember, when Frieza trained for those 10 years, there was a lot he had to account for. Jiren, Broly, and Gogeta were all huge obstacles for him, and on top of that, he had to account for how strong they could grow in power as time went on. And it became very evident in the Granola arc that he had a very accurate assessment. In his Black Frieza state, he was able to one-shot Goku and Vegeta at the same time, while they were in their god forms. Mastered Ultra Instinct is stronger than true Ultra Instinct, so Goku wasn't at full power technically. Although in the past, Golden Frieza would have never measured up to Ultra Instinct anyway, so it was impressive nonetheless. It was also a one-shot, implying that he easily defeated TUI Goku. So even if Goku was in his white hair form, it's still a good chance the outcome would be the same. This is a Goku and Vegeta, mind you, that's stronger than Moro and full power Super Saiyan Broly from the Broly movie, as stated by Whis even before Ultra Ego and TUI were conceptualized. When training with Whis to better fine-tune Ultra Instinct, Goku asks him if he knows anyone in the universe stronger than himself and Vegeta, to which Whis responds with no, at least when Goku is currently asking, but alluding to the fact that the universe is so big, who knows. Later on, Granola, Gas, and Black Frieza all surpassed Goku and Vegeta at one point or another, so these were the people in mind. This statement, though, does confirm that people who Whis is already aware of who reside in this universe don't currently surpass Goku and Vegeta. Whis is aware of Broly and would be counted here. Mind you, in the past, Goku and Vegeta had to fuse and turn into a Super Saiyan Blue in order to beat full power Broly. At one point in that fight, Super Saiyan Gogeta was overpowered by Broly and needed to transform. This implies Goku and Vegeta at this point in the story more than likely surpass Blue Gogeta, or rival him at the very least, being above Super Saiyan Gogeta easily. And despite this, Frieza was still above them. To quote V-Jump, it says, "He easily KO'd Goku and Vegeta, who had reached the realm of the gods. You can't even begin to measure the extent of his power, close to even God of Destruction." This would suggest Beerus does reign supreme, but Frieza hasn't fallen much behind. Currently, he's the biggest super threat, just as he was all those years ago. You could just feel a universal takeover coming. Frieza in both the Broly movie and the last time we see him in the Granola arc seemed more concerned with building the foundation of his empire than dealing with the Saiyans. After all, he didn't just let Goku and Vegeta live, but Broly as well. At the end of the Broly movie, Frieza is made aware of his location, but said he would leave him alone for a while, allowing Goku and Vegeta to better train him to use his mind so he can become stronger. And why is this? So he can have another adversary, one that will push him to become stronger. Sounds pretty Goku-like, right? Well, if Frieza's goal is to become stronger than the very gods themselves, the Saiyans who seem to surpass insurmountable odds are the perfect contestants for him. This is definitely the #1 story arc everyone would want to see, but sadly the least likely to happen anytime soon. Mainly, I think to keep something tucked in the back, just in case their story gets boring or receives backlash in the future. It's like their ace in the hole. Mention Black Frieza and people will go crazy. The Black Frieza arc aside, however, I think there's other notable story arcs that Super can adapt that could also be good on its return. One of which being the promise made between Vegeta and 𝗕𝗫𝗅. After instilling Saiyan pride within the young warrior, 𝗕𝗫𝗅 makes a mention that the king is a proud man just like Vegeta. This sparks Vegeta's curiosity and he's interested on meeting him one day. At the time, it seemed like typical character banter, but this promise is later reiterated in the Tournament of Power. Saving 𝗕𝗫𝗅 from an early elimination, Vegeta reminds him of his promise that was made to him. It's also because of this master and student bond that Vegeta is able to push past his limits later on, achieving Blue Evolution. Now he has a promise to keep: win the tournament and revive Universe 6. All that said, I think this story arc has a very strong legs to stand on. Seeing Goku and Vegeta meet and interact with other Saiyans has always been the subject of fan fiction, most notably the what if surrounding them reviving their dead parents and the Saiyans of Planet Vegeta. Though I never really seen a reason why they would, since at the time Vegeta's mindset in Z centered around the strong survive while the weak perish. Him killing his fellow Saiyan in arms Nappa was a big indicator of how he felt about his race. Power was everything to him, so if you're unable to live, you must be weak, and therefore aren't worthy of his time. And Goku said verbatim to Frieza that he thinks Saiyans got what they deserved in being killed by him. It was like their karma for being ruthless murderers. Now though, it can happen more naturally, with Saiyans from Universe 6 who may resemble some familiar faces from the past. Since Universe 6 and 7 are twin universes, it's possible for us to see twin versions of Bardock and King Vegeta. Some people actually speculated that King of Sadala is Vegeta's real universe twin, and not 𝗕𝗫𝗅, and he would have just learned his 𝗕𝗥𝗔𝗡 technique from this king. While this is plausible, I believe the narrative installs 𝗕𝗫𝗅, Kale, and Caulifla to be the twins of Goku, Vegeta, and Broly, since it lines up too perfectly. But who knows? It's possible. There wasn't any ever official statement of what I'm saying, so it's subject to change. As far as the arc, it could go something like this. As Vegeta and Goku are now back on Earth, they are approached by Vados and Chopper. 𝗕𝗫𝗅 is accompanying them, and Vegeta already knows what's going on, and is curious what took him so long. Since it's the Goku and Vegeta show, naturally Goku will accompany him, and they'll be taken to Planet Sadala. While 𝗕𝗫𝗅 shows them around and explains new Saiyan lore, Goku will find himself bored in all the talk, get distracted, and veer away from 𝗕𝗫𝗅 and Vegeta, until he stumbles into an all-out brawl. After the dust settles, Kale and Caulifla will be the only ones standing. Goku and Caulifla lock eyes and greet each other excitingly. Now that the tournament is over, he can teach them properly. Since 𝗪𝗏 confirmed Super Saiyan 3 can easily be obtained by just training, it's time for Caulifla to learn how to become one. He could also teach them the fusion dance as well, since they're pretty much inseparable. Goku's absence doesn't affect Vegeta or 𝗕𝗫𝗅, however. He has a fellow king to meet, as well as fight, I assume. Since he's the king of their race, he must be very strong, as mentioned by 𝗕𝗫𝗅 from the beginning. I don't think he'd be able to get Vegeta to use God forms, but still impressive enough for someone who hasn't seen half the combat Vegeta has. The fight should be so awe-inspiring that all the Saiyans on the planet are drawn to it. This would interrupt the training session between Goku and Caulifla, and even they will pop up to see what's going on. After Vegeta wins, he'll mention how he's not really interested in being king, and the King of Sadala will look forward to getting stronger so he can become a better ruler. With that said and done, Goku and Vegeta can return home, and that could be a nice little mini-arc to kick off the return. Nothing with insane high stakes, but a story the fans could enjoy. The next idea probably won't happen for some time now, but I personally think is the best way to continue the story of Dragon Ball after the end of Z. Super's only a few years away from that time period, so it's a good time for the staff to prepare for what's to come next, which is the exploration of the multiverse. There's a lot to cover here and really infinite possibilities as to where the story could go, one of which being an arc of Jiren finding out who killed his master. Jiren wasn't the most colorful antagonist, to be honest. He was a bit boring. A lot of this had to do with his previous philosophy, thinking true strength comes from oneself and nothing else. Distant from speaking directly too much to anyone and tight-lipped on his past until Goku reminded him of the one who killed his master. I think an arc to better flesh out Jiren could be very good for the series, if they plan on using him any further. There might also be some interesting lore implications with the person who did kill his master, since whoever it was had to be a demon. This comes from Dragon Ball Super episode 127's exposition from 𝗪𝗏, around the 15-minute mark. In Viz's English translation, they went with, "I will wish for the resurrection of my master 𝗕𝗫𝗣𝗅, who was slain by a monster." Regardless, it said he wasn't able to be brought back by not even the angel Margarita. We learned years ago in OG Dragon Ball that people who are killed by demons aren't able to find peace in the afterlife and instead go into purgatory. We know that Toriyama kept this wonderful piece of lore into the story when we later learn the real story of Yamoshi. For those of you who don't know, the story in Battle of Gods got retconned, and Yamoshi was no longer the first Super Saiyan god. Now in Dragon Ball Super, he's the first Super Saiyan who was killed by an evil Saiyan who was so evil Yamoshi didn't go into the afterlife after death, and instead his spirit wandered the universe looking for 6 righteous Saiyans to perform the Super Saiyan god ritual. Because Yamoshi never found peace in the afterlife, the evil Saiyan Saiyan who killed him must have been a demon. This lines up directly in the case of Jiren's master and makes you wonder what kind of demon it was. In addition to this, Jiren and Goku are set to have a rematch, as implied at the end of the Tournament of Power. This would be big for the Jiren in the current story, since we don't know how he measure up to Goku at this point. Remember, when Goku fought Jiren way back, he couldn't even maintain Ultra Instinct, much less use it to his full capabilities. Now, as shown in his latest fight with Beast Gohan, he can easily go in and out of the form with little difficulty. On top of that, he's much stronger than Blue Gogeta from the Broly movie, who should be comparable to Jiren at the least in the manga. In both the anime and the manga, Goku seems to still give credit to Jiren's power, even during the Cell Max arc. Vegeta has a different take on the matter though. Either way, I think a rematch between the two can happen in the same arc of Jiren discovering his master. The arc will serve to give him a touch of more character and restore his aura. Speaking of restore, I wonder if the universes that were completely erased years ago were brought back with Android 17's wish. It's a bit cheeky, but so is Toriyama, so I won't rule it out as a possibility. Which reminds me, there were universes that didn't participate in the tournament originally. It would be interesting to see what kind of strong fighters they have in a second tournament. This idea was already made into a video, however, so I won't recreate it here. Just putting it out there again. What could be interesting though is more world building in the series in general. Since the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, the concept of multiple universes really took the series to new heights. We've seen new races of people as well as different classes of power, with the very top being Grand Zeno. At least that's what they say. With the new series Dragon Ball Daima, this lore was expanded even more. The Demon Realm was a place that always existed in Dragon Ball, but we never got any story about it. Dabura, the Demon King who appeared in the Majin Buu saga, was the extent of it. Turns out these guys have 3 separate worlds down there that contain all kinds of Majin. Majin meaning demon, by the way, not to be confused with this pink guy over here. Namekians and a lot of other races we know of come from this very Demon Realm, and not just the ones in Universe 7 either. We learned in Daima that the Demon Realm existed before pretty much everything else. If you weren't a creation of the Kais, then you're a spawn of the Demon Realm. Neat, right? It's been rumored that a future story arc in Dragon Ball Super will incorporate elements from Daima, which makes the prospect of a canon Janemba a real possibility. As we know, Dragon Ball Super is no stranger to fan service. We already have Broly now as a canon character, so I don't think Janemba is a stretch. And I've already thought of a few different ways they can implement him into the story. We've been introduced into a new character in the story named Maba, and apparently she was the one who originally created Majin Buu. She can be the one who creates Janemba, but by total accident, similar to how he was made originally. Just have a series of events happen, either where she accidentally spills things into her pot that creates him, or have evil Majin seek her out and force her into making a being that could even be stronger than Buu. Something like that. Recently, the wall that divided the demon worlds was removed by Neva, a super Namekian who's one of the oldest living in existence. That wall being removed could have a greater consequence than one could anticipate. Maybe someone got trapped between the barrier and is now free. Either way, the demon realm is now being added to the roster of dimensions in Dragon Ball and definitely gives us something to look forward to. It's unknown to us if Goku is supposed to be returning here in a future arc, or if characters we meet here we'll see again. Goma could be a fun character to make a return though, similar to how we have people like Jacko who stick around a little bit after they first appear. Sadly, not a lot of people are interested in Daima, so something like this could spark interest in the series as a whole. But what do you guys think? Leave the next story arc you'd love to see in the comment section down below. And until next time, Majin Birds.